Chapter 2. Vicky, I'm gonna miss you so much. Do you really have to leave? The receptionist at Bliss Spa said to Victoria. I will miss you too, but I have to take care of my mental health, Victoria replied. After working in the beauty industry for over 10 years, she was burned out. Victoria had learned that the beauty industry isn't so pretty. She already has her own personal things to deal with, which makes it difficult to deal with other people's issue. While in beauty school, she learned to not be a therapist to her clients, but to change the subject. But when you're working with people day to day, it's hard not to hear their problems too. Clients tend to get close, and you can learn so much about why they were late or early. Why did they have to get a cheaper pedicure this time? How their husband left or their own medical conditions. It's a lot to deal with, especially when she has really bad anxiety herself. Because of these problems is why she decided to change careers. This was her last day at work, and it seems that they really didn't want her to go. The day was long, saying hello, hearing about the client's day, and then goodbyes for good. For a moment, she was sad to leave, mostly because of how great the pay was. But was the money worth the stress? Victoria shook her head. No, it's time for a new chapter in my life. Not to mention, she had already packed her stuff and booked her flight back to Atlanta. She was still looking for a place to stay, but at least she had some income. Finally, the end of the day had come, so she started to walk back home, mentally going through what was left to do for the evening. There was no need to stay at her soon-to-be old apartment, she thought to herself. All she had to do was turn in the keys to the rent office in the morning. She decided to stay the night in a hotel near the airport. She did a walk through her apartment. She took pictures of every room to ensure she had proof of how she left the apartment. This was not a place that she would miss at all, and had hoped that she never had to return to live there again. She was ready to start her new life, a fresh start, a clean slate from all the problems that she was leaving behind. Her mother, friend, career, and her ex. From the outside, Victoria and her ex looked like the perfect couple. He was a big business owner in the city. He spoiled her with gifts, took her out to eat, and hosted parties. But behind it all was something so much more sinister. She would soon find out that her ex-boyfriend's business was just a front for an underground sex trafficking and drug organization. Her ex was very popular. He knew almost everybody in the city, from being a great football player in high school. Everybody knew him as kind and nice, but he was also from the hood, one of the worst ones too. He had a lot of female friends that would call him and text him at different times of the day. They would cry or request money. He was always there to help them, even if the two of them were together. Victoria thought that he was just being nice, too nice. One night, while they were on a weekend staycation, her ex-boyfriend had left the hotel to get more drinks. While he was gone, Victoria looked for her belongings that were mixed in the bags with his. As she zipped and unzipped a pile of bags looking for which one had her belongings, she stumbled upon a bag full of bottles and prescription drugs. Shocked about what she had just found, she began to question herself. What are these doing here? Why are these here? When her ex-boyfriend got back to the hotel, she asked him, "Are you taking these? Or what's going on?" "Of course, I'm not taking these, but I do sell them from time to time," he replied. Then he began to explain. He told her that when they clean houses, often there are prescriptions left, and instead of throwing them away, he keeps them and sells them to other people who want to sell them for a lower price. Victoria's heart dropped and her mouth wide open. She was in complete, utter shock. Her body felt numb. She was sitting, but it was as if she was floating outside of her body. Was this really happening? Afraid of what he might do if she seemed like what he just shared was disturbing, she decided to just say, "Oh, okay," with a smile and changed the subject. She leaned over and kissed him on the lips. "Are you going to take a shower now, honey?" "Yes, it's been a long day," he replied. Victoria turned on the TV and turned the volume up. Wow. Her ex was in the shower and her mind said, "I gotta get out of here. Don't even know who I'm dating anymore." And he thinks. Her mind raced as she gathered her things in an attempt to leave. But then his phone rang. She thought that they didn't have any secrets, and that's why his phone was not in the bathroom with him. So she decided to answer. On the end was a female yelling hysterically. Victoria couldn't even get a word in as the female on the other side of the phone said all that was going on. "He just left. He didn't even pay. It was longer than what we had agreed on. He made me do much more than what I told him that it cost. He just laughed and he left. I can't believe it. What am I going to do now? I'm stranded. I don't have any money. You're going to have to pay me what he owes and help me get out of here. Please, please, just calm down for a second," Victoria exclaimed. "What's going on here?" The female on the other line abruptly hung up. "That's it," Victoria said to herself. "I gotta get out of here." So she grabbed her bag, slipped on her shoes, and ran out of the room. She ran and ran until she couldn't see the hotel any longer. While turning off her phone, she hid behind a building. "I'll just stay here, just in case he tries to find me, and then I can make my way home." A new start, she smiled into a restful sigh. Finally seated on board of her flight to Atlanta with no real place to go. Once she arrived there, having an early flight gave her the whole day to find something. As the last few passengers loaded on the plane, Victoria leaned over to open up her backpack, grabbed her iPad and earbuds so that she could prepare to watch a movie during the flight. As she sat back, something caught her eye. Blue initials, SCG, on the back of a jacket. She knew those initials. Those were the same initials that were on her boyfriend's jacket. It was the name of the club that he was a part of. No, it couldn't be. It was a tall, slender man wearing all black with a baseball cap on. Victoria tried to get a glance at his face, but the man kept pulling the hat down over his eyebrows and putting his hand on his forehead as if he was trying to hide his face. Well, she thought, it didn't really matter because the guy was not the same build as her ex-boyfriend, so she shrugged it off. That club had many members, so it could just be one of the members. After the incident in the hotel, Victoria hadn't spoken to her boyfriend. She would only hope and assume that he would get the point that they were no longer together. She had blocked his number, and at that time, she was living with a friend who later betrayed her. So she was already in the process of moving into that apartment he didn't know about. Her ex-boyfriend was not abusive towards her. He never raised his voice towards her. But she did get to see how mean he could be to some of the people that worked for him. After learning about his double life, she just didn't know what he would be capable of. Victoria didn't know it, but that guy who she saw on the plane, he works for her ex-boyfriend. That's the end of chapter 2. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you could, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.